to smoke. The fear of God came to me. And it's like, God did something. So why would you break it now? And so I praise God for even through all the addictions that I've had. God never allowed me to stay and be locked in those addictions. Even if it was depression. But, God can really do great things if you're willing to give it to Him. So, that's my testimony. I want to give thanks. I truly want to give thanks. And I hope that it's touched you in a way. That, even what you're going through, God is there. God is always there. And if you really go to Him, He can make things possible that you would thought were impossible. So praise God. Like I said, I've made many mistakes in my life. Many choices in my life. Many wrong choices in my life. Definitely worth testifying about because of how God has moved in my life. And again, I cannot contain, or these testimonies, I believe, is not just for me, but it's for something for me to share it. So, kind of to continue off on my relationship testimonies, but it goes on, like I said, that relationship, that testimony of my relationship, that was the beginning of how everything started to go. And I want to keep this one a little bit short. But, after all that bitterness, or after the breakup, there's a part of me that went into depression. I believe that maybe we are all going through that. Maybe there is a part in our life where we have become depressed also. And the way that we chose to deal with it maybe wasn't the best way to deal with it. At the time, I didn't know who God was again. So, I had to figure it out on my own. And the world really has this big influence, huge influence. Oh, before I thought I knew what love was because of my environment, because of the things that I saw, the people that what the world was telling me. And now that I'm in depression, the world is also talking again. What's the world saying? If you're depressed, go drink. If you're depressed, take this. I want to talk to you and testify about my life as in my addictions and my vices. The vices that I started with because of the situation again that I had found myself in. It started with depression. It started with depression because where I found myself after that. I started to smoke. I started to drink. I started to not necessarily physically harm myself, but in a way it is harming myself because I started putting things into my body that is not natural. That in actuality, it is actually killing the body. Right? There is, when I say that, it's smoking cigarettes, but it started as simple, harmless, thinking that, oh, smoking cigarettes, wow, I kind of feel better. Maybe it was just an effect Was that the effect? Where you give them a medicine, but it really doesn't do anything? But because you told them that it will heal you, it's going to heal them? Placebo effect. Maybe that's what it kind of did. It made me feel better. It made me feel lightheaded, but that lightheadedness kind of made me feel as if I was feeling better. I know that there's something going on over there, but I want you guys to look at me. I want your attention. Okay, let's leave whatever's happening over there. Okay? Maybe in our lives we have done something to deal with our depression in a way where we have become addicted to it. Because yes, smoking cigarettes made me feel better for a moment. And then the thing is, in that moment, then, when I felt depressed again, I needed to smoke again. Or if I felt stressed again, I needed to find that cigarette again. And then it moved me to drinking. Getting drunk to forget your problems, getting drunk to take you away from the stress and the emotions and the mental, to be able to think properly. To take you away from all that overthinking. Because yeah, it does help. It does help. But only for what? A few hours, a couple hours. So of course it made me wanting to go even deeper. That drinking and smoking cigarettes wasn't enough. It started me to go into, drugs. First it started off as just, as simple right now, which is weed. But then, that wasn't enough. Causing me to go into, I can tell you everything that I've gone through, tell you everything that I've used, just to get out of that depressed feeling. Or that to make myself feel good, or to take away the overthinking in my life. All the hurts that I had, or maybe the hurt and the pain that I was going through. I went over to, if you guys know, crystal meth. We can talk about crystal meth, we can talk about cocaine, we can talk about crack cocaine, we can talk about mushrooms, I'm not saying that to get a reaction, but just to tell you that, yeah, I've been there, and I've used many ways and means to try to get myself out of it. The thing about addiction, I'm not saying that it's good to use, I'm not saying that it's good to drink, I'm not saying any of that. But the thing is, the reason for what I was doing it. Why did I get addicted to it? Because in the moment that I did it, it was to get away from problem. It was to get away from a feeling or depression. To be, just to take me out of what I was feeling at that very moment. I wasn't happy when I was taking those things. But in the moment, it made me happy. So what came to me is that if I'm sad, there's something that can make me happy. If I feel like I can't go on, there's something that can make me happy. So the joy came from these things. And that's how addiction kind of starts, right? We become addicted to it because it seems as if the only way is through that, because we finally find that joy, we finally feel happy because of this substance. it seems to cause us to be happy. And that's what we think happiness is. Well, that's what I thought was happiness. It got me out of, my situation. It got me out of that feeling of hate, of hurt, of not being loved, of the struggle of my life. I believe that probably more people have had more struggles than me, but in my own life, I thought that it was the end of the world. Like, you can only imagine that I said that. There was that as soon as I broke up with my first girlfriend, I came to that part where I wanted to off myself, right? And I boldly stood in front of my parents with a knife to my wrist, and I said, I want to die. And that is where that's where I was mentally. But yet, I'm still, in that moment, I was still afraid of death. There was a fear of death. So, of course, I didn't have the courage to even kill myself. But there was these other things that allowed me to feel good. That was the part where I didn't know who God was. I didn't know who God is. I thought that I was all alone. And in my addictions, I found that my addictions in those things because it allowed me to be free from my problems. It allowed me to be free from my sadness. It allowed me to be free to just be gone. But the thing about that is, it only works for only so long. It only works for a few hours. It only works. There's some that only happen. It keeps you happy you find happiness for 10 minutes. That's why, in the drug business, they profit off of it because it's a 10-minute happiness. After 10 minutes, they go and look for it again. They go and look for it some more. 10 minutes. Because when that 10 minutes is gone, when that hour is gone, when that 2 hours is gone, guess what? The problem is still there again. That feeling is still there again. That depression is still there again. It's still there. Why? Because we just ran away from it. We looked for something, or I looked for something that was temporary. And that brought addiction. That brought me to my lowest points. Broke. I had nothing. All I cared about, all I thought that could make me happy was to either drink or to get high. That's the only thing that I couldn't have fun without those things. If my friends called me, there has to be some way to get high. There had to be some way to just be different, to not be in this skin, or to be in this feeling. I had to have a hit of something. But I found, in those times, honestly, I searched. I always searched for a hit. I always searched for something, a substance. And I was lost for so long. And I praise God because I really give thanks to God. Because there's a lot of people that can't break out of that addiction. They do not have the strength to get out of that addiction because they already started and they're stuck in there. Then I told you all of those things that I have done. And a lot of those, at least three of those drugs are very addicting that people can't leave. And I've seen it. I've seen it destroy families. I've seen it destroy lives. But I praise God because I've done all those things, but yet God really had a plan for me to be able to not be stuck in that pit, or not to be stuck in any of those substances. But somehow, I was able to always leave. I was able to always let it go. And I believe that it was the work of God that did something. Because, I've been pretty clean for a long time now, ever since I came to know God. But again, even when I came to know God, there were times where I fell. But as I started to let go, as I started to, then truly the fear of the Lord, our theme for this event, a lot of things that caused me to change is that fear of the Lord. That's the conviction that came to me. It's always been that conviction, that scare, that feeling like, yeah, I'm here in the church, but yet why am I doing? Why am I still doing these things? And really that fear that, it's embarrassing. Not embarrassing to, I don't care about the people. I didn't really care about the people. I didn't really care. But it was embarrassing to come to God, praise God. But it was embarrassing to God. I was embarrassed in front of God. Is everything a lie? Am I lying to myself? Am I lying to my praise? Am I lying in my worship? Because I praise and I worship God, but then go and do something else. So that's really the fear of the Lord. And I praise God because, honestly, as we continue to seek Him, it is only through God that I was changed. The last thing that I couldn't really let go of was smoking cigarettes. But again, it came in my relationship also. Came with the relationship when I came to know Divina. I hid my smoking from her for a while, and then I told her that I quit. Right? I told her that I quit, but I was hiding it actually. I was smoking behind her back. But I did tell her. It was like the biggest betrayal I've ever. She made me feel really guilty, as if I really betrayed her. But honestly, there was a conviction there. And it was only then that when I felt that conviction that I came to God and I said, you know what, God? I don't want to do this anymore. I want to quit. And I've tried to quit smoking cigarettes for many times. But it was only the time when in those times that I tried to quit smoking cigarettes, I've always tried to do it by myself. And it was only when I said, okay, God, I need to stop. It's the last time that I'm going to smoke. The moment that I said those things, the moment that I committed that, and I'm still amazed because honestly, after that, a week goes by, or 3 days goes by, no smoking. A week goes by, no smoking. A month goes by. And every time I keep looking back and I say, wow, I keep getting amazed, more amazed, and more amazed. And even though there's that little thinking in my head that says, just